As we all know, the city has been tasked with finding locations for the province for a shelter or two for the unhoused. I would like to ask for a public update on that search.
Go ahead, Mr. Jorgensen.
Great. Thank you, Chair Davies, or sorry, Chair Hill. Yes, and I appreciate the question. It has been definitely a long journey, and we continue to work with the province to seek to find a shelter location. We have reviewed dozens of locations over the past roughly 10 months or so with the province, trying to find the right location that could be used for either one location for about 60 beds or two locations of about 30 beds each. It's been talked about in chambers, of course, many times. We meet with the province every week and have for the vast, I don't know if there's been very few missed weeks where there hasn't been connection with the province. So it's a very collaborative approach. And although we haven't been able to announce anything yet, we do have two locations that are, I would say, in the final stages of due diligence review. So one would be a temporary location, and then we also have a permanent location. And again, we're in the final stages of that due diligence review. You know what, we're very optimistic that these are sites that we'll be able to announce to the public in the next week or two. That said, we've been at that point before and ended up disappointed, or where something has surprised us. But what I would say through the chair is that at this point, these two sites are looking very, very solid. We haven't found any reason not to pursue these sites. So we're hopeful that we're able to start making announcements in the next couple of weeks.
Great news. Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Block, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Hill. I would like to follow up with the administration about the plan for the shelter space. What happens if the locations don't come forward? How do we plan to house folks in the winter if this does not go through?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and through the chair, what I would say is the approach of the administration, and I also believe the understanding of the province is that that's just not an option. We've got what I would say is there's a high level of commitment. We have to find a location, so I would say that is not something any of us are even entertaining. We feel we just have to find a location. I think what I would say is if the locations that we're looking at don't, if we encounter a surprise and they end up being taken off the table for some reason, we would have a fallback position that would be, it would be not a desirable location, but it would get us through the winter with some significant number of additional beds. So I don't know how, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm not sure how else to answer it, but we're just not, one way or another, we feel we have to have those additional beds in place this fall. So there's no option in our minds.
So maybe just one follow-up question. If it's the province's role to ensure that there's housing, is there an option to, my understanding, I guess, speaking to service providers, is that hotels are often used. Can you make a comment on that? In terms of what the options look like for the province, and I realize that's not our jurisdiction, but I'm asking in your conversations with the province if that's discussed.
No, really appreciate that point. I know, through our work with the SDMH and exchanging information and whatnot, we know there is capacity in the hotel industry for, there's available rooms. The specific point of the province using that as a fallback, we haven't broached that with them. We've been very narrowly focused on finding a location for a shelter, but that is absolutely something we can remind them of. I know they've done that in previous years, so we will make sure that that sentiment is relayed.
Okay, thanks very much.